What if you could travel to parallel worlds? The same year, the same Earth, only different dimensions. A world where the Russians rule America. Or where your dreams of being superstar came true. Or where San Francisco was a maximum security prison. My friends and I found the gateway. Now the problem is finding a way back home.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 10 of Circling the Vortex. This is a special episode in which all three members of the podcast come from a world in which, instead of sliders getting picked up for a season order, doorways did. That's because we're here to talk about the never aired pilot episode of Doorways, written by George R.R. Martin, directed by some guy, starring some other people. We sat through an hour and 12 minutes of this unaired pilot, which I can only imagine was probably some kind of leaked VHS rip that we found on YouTube, and it was bad quality. But we suffered through. We suffered through because we thought you guys would want to know about Doorways, because it shares some crazy similarities to Sliders, and there's some history to it. Who wants to talk about what may or may not have happened with Doorways?
So, from the small amount of research we've done,
fairly small, I'd say a cursory Google or two.
But yeah, there were 6 episodes that were written, but the pilot episode was filmed and written, and ABC didn't pick it up. They decided to pick up Lois and Clark for that summer instead of Doorways.
It would have been a very different schedule if you'd imagine Doorways in the slot of Lois and Clark. Very different tone and feeling to ABC
in that world. And one of the writing positions came up, and one of the lead writers for Sliders had come over and I think tried to get into the role. That position, didn't get it, and they moved on. So I think they might have plucked the idea from there for their own show, Sliders.
So it was pitched, it didn't make it, they filmed the pilot, but it didn't get picked up, and then lo and behold, ABC did pick up Sliders. Was it on the same network? Or
it was NBC, I think it was.
So it wasn't on the same network?
No.
Okay, but you feel like somebody might have stolen the idea. I haven't introduced us, by the way. I apologise. I'm Ben, your host. With me today, as always, Kurt, he's been speaking, and Nathan, who has been sitting here pondering his notes that he's taken fastidiously while watching Doorways. He was the only one to take notes for this episode. Are you excited? Are you ready to get into this?
Hello and no.
So none of us had ever seen
I was excited before watching it.
You was?
And now that I've watched it, I'm not.
I can understand. So none of us had ever watched it before. Obviously, with watching Sliders with Nathan, me and Kurt have some experience with the show, and therefore we can come at it with a little bit of prior knowledge, whereas none of us came to Doorways with any knowledge. And frankly, I'm not sure I know much more now than I did before.
I think
really.
I know less after watching it.
So who wants to dive into the recap? Who wants to
Nate,
start?
you start us off.
Recap? Recap what?
Okay, the sort of pilot episode paper thin plot that we got.
There's
Cat.
nothing.
Door.
Well, I think we should
It's not
probably
even-
start with the very beginning
Yeah.
of the somewhat lackluster, I guess, pre-opening titles, almost like a Twilight Zone kind of narration. But instead of the very brief
Well,
bit,
it's the same thing as Sliders has.
yeah, but it's drawn out. It feels a lot longer. So in the Sliders one, he gives a couple of examples, like, what if America was ruled by the Russians, and what if this never happened? It's like, okay. And this one, they just give about 10, 12. What if dinosaurs existed and we never involved?
The voiceover's not exciting.
What if Hitler ruled the world?
So it does this thing which I found
over almost just nothing.
This is a thing that you get in a pilot that probably wouldn't then be aired. This would be like, because they're almost giving an overview for the execs watching it, basically explaining the concept way before the characters in the show understand the concept, and therefore get kind of sort of really telegraphing the entire reveal that happens later on in the show when the main character, the protagonist, the kind of person we're seeing the world through, discovers very slowly what is happening to him.
Oh my God.
So we get that introduction where it's like, you know, basically the same idea as Sliders.
Some very nice early 90s.
And then we get our-
helicopter shot over the city.
We get our-
couple names.
Then we get the main character.
Couple names you recognise.
One name we recognised, which we were very surprised to see, wasn't it? Carrie-Anne Moss
Carrie-Anne
is
Moss.
in this, briefly, very briefly. But I guess she would have been a more important recurring character if the show got picked up. But yeah, she's fairly important, I suppose, to the main character. But anyway, we then meet ostensibly one of the two leads, which is this woman in traffic. So
When I'm actually looking back at it now, is very much an animal, like a cat or a rabbit in headlights.
In headlights, literally in headlights.
Literally in headlights.
Yeah.
She's playing Frogger, isn't she? She's trying to get across the road, swerving in between the cars, causes quite a hefty crash. Looks like a tanker goes on its side.
She shoots it.
She shoots it and it explodes.
Yeah.
And she passes out and gets taken to the hospital.
Yeah, and then we meet Doctor by day, Magician by night.
My
Thomas.
God.
Dr. Thomas. Oh, we don't know, sir.
I don't even think you did.
Did we ever get that? I think we might have got mentioned, but there's nobody cares. And Thomas is infinitely 90s, painfully inept. It would seem in most situations. Good, you know, a good guy that cares. However, God, so boring. Like there's so little character to that guy.
Yeah, he does. He has no, he doesn't.
No, he does magic. That's his character
Very
defining.
briefly at the start. That's
But
it.
it's mentioned that he thinks his dad was Merlin at one point.
What we thought. He's not still under this.
It'd be better if he did.
Most
So-
of his delivery is like this throughout the whole episode, so it gets old.
Which you
very
can only
quickly.
imagine is brilliant when he is acting opposite a woman whose performance at first seems like a language barrier issue where she doesn't understand what's being said or what's happening to her, so she speaks in monosyllabic words. But we later. But yeah, that's not the case.
Cat, Thomas.
She's got a French sort of accent. We'd say French. We decided on French accent.
It sounded Frenchy.
Yeah. And she's just sort of very confused and scared.
Well, she's very scared because she bites a policeman's nose off. Just the end of the nose, sorry. Just the end.
She bites quite a lot of
Just the
noses. Just of noses off, doesn't she? It's her thing. It's like her character defining concept.
So yeah, she comes around after being brought into the hospital, kicks off, bites a police officer's nose off. Thomas is able to cool her off. They take her to a room. I think he checks up on her.
Nurse finds a nose.
Yeah, the nurse finds a nose in a kind of trying to be funny kind of way.
Oh.
Yep. The police, I think, might be weirdly... I don't know what the laws are over there, but that's kind of like breaking the law. They're not allowed to do that if someone's wounded as like a prisoner. I don't know where the law
attacks another policeman.
Yeah, but...
She's got a little bump on her head. The police probably like, she's not that hurt.
Yeah.
Book 'em, Dano.
Yeah, I mean, she did assault a police officer.
That's true.
So the guy wants to basically lock her up, like, for doing it. But Thomas makes her stay in the hospital.
Yeah.
He protects her. And they put her in a room and she's still, like, trashes the room. And what we didn't, I think, pick up on immediately were, like you've mentioned, were the animalistic traits of the character. So she's very much acting like a cornered animal. She's purely acting on instinct. She trashes the room when she's contained in there because she's like energy and she can't get out and she just wants to escape. But we don't really get that. I don't think it's particularly well conveyed that she's showing animalistic traits until we get now. Is this the point where they introduced that there are people hunting her?
Not yet. He goes home.
We get a very brief bit at the start of people kind of phasing, just walking out of nothingness, kind of into frame, about 3 or 4 of them.
Doorway.
Oh. Like, okay, and then they're followed by a thing which we couldn't see because of the video.
Because of a mixture of the video quality, the lighting, and the terrible special effects.
Followed
it was
by
hard to make
some
out
kind
what it
of
was.
possibly hovering vehicle.
Yeah, it was like a weird triangle pyramid thing at best. At best.
Cool.
Yeah.
Special effect blob, we'll go with, yeah.
So he goes home and then he meets his girlfriend, who's
Carrie
a
Ann
lawyer.
Moss.
Yep. Who's
Can't
a lawyer.
remember what was her name.
Laura.
She's a lawyer because he's a doctor, and therefore it's a '90s TV show, and that's how that works. And she's a little bit of flirty back and forth about how cute the patient is. That why are you putting all this effort into, And he mentions how she's fat and ugly, but she's not. She's fine. Is Kat. So yeah, we get that established. We get a little bit more Carrie Ann Moss later, but not a lot. So
he then goes back to work the following day. Goes back to the hospital, and she's been moved out of the room. Disappeared. Where we meet, was it Detective Special
Trigger?
Agent Trigger, who is played by the amazing Kurtwood Smith, who's this special agent, and they've decided to move Kat to a secure facility. He gets taken to the secure facility in a very sort of classic authoritarian kind of way of, don't worry, we've got someone covering you at work, you need to come with us right now to this mysterious location, and you really don't know who we are, and I've not even shown you any ID or anything.
I think I'm assuming it's because he talked to her once.
Yeah.
And suddenly he's in on the whole thing, and it's
Well, he did more than talk to her once. He was the only one that could get her to cooperate.
Yeah, and cool off when she was kicking off. He then goes to this awful, well, it's almost like a warehouse, isn't it? That government facility.
Bargain Basement X-Files.
Yeah, Bargain Bin X-Files. They go through the facility where we get a quick rundown of the weird alien tech that she has.
The shooting range I walked past was blown up, and there's firemen because of the gun she had.
So she has this weird...
like a pressurized air dart gun, I guess, but the darts are explosive.
It's not shaped like a gun, it's shaped like a very certain other object.
It's such a weird design choice. It's like, why not just make it a bloody gun? Like, for the sake of expedience, for the props department.
It just looked like a very phallic...
Not real. Like you get a phallic gun or
the phallic gun
gold staff.
Yeah, it was.
Just make it look not practical, essentially.
And the other item, she had this like a snake sort of transporter door thing.
But it's like more like a
bracelet,
a big bracelet. Yeah, I mean,
which
looks more like a bit of jewellery almost, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Clamps on.
And it had 3 lights on it. Which, what was its natural colour? Was it red?
Oh, there's nothing.
Well, there's no colour.
No colour. And then yellow when bad guys are nearby, and blue when you're near a point you in the direction of a doorway.
Very intrigued by the chromatic changes in the device.
Chromatic was used, yeah.
Because it was blue, and it was yellow at one point. 9 a.m. in the morning.
So they've brought him in to speak to Kat, see if he can work out what was going on while they're sitting behind the glass. They end up looking into the device. We start getting a little bit of the concept. She's saying, similar world, but a little bit different. Thomas is not catching on because he's a complete dumbass.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help that she's literally delivering things like...
Door.
In the most obfuscated, sort of simple language, which doesn't explain anything.
He can't get out that way. Door.
Door. Other.
No.
Thomas.
But it's not funny. Because
when we find out later on.
Yeah, we get that quite soon, don't we?
So
we cut to the bad guy soon, don't we?
The bad guy fight, they're just saying, oh, I've lost her. Oh, the Masters. And something, and the woman one with... Do we know his name at this point?
No, not yet. Thane.
She's like, oh, you've been spending 200 times with the books, Thane. Oh.
I don't know if I'm going to be bothered to do a blow-by-blow, though, to be honest. Let's just skip to the point where I'm just... It's just like it's awkward because we find out that she was this character Thane's basically his pet, and he decided to teach her to read and write and use language and then made her his mate,
clothed her.
I think the nicest way to put it is made her his mate, which is a nice way of saying, that would mean he was raping her repeatedly, wouldn't it? I mean, let's talk in the George R. Remember, this is George R. Martin, and it's like, oh, that's dark. That's dark.
Yeah, see, at first we were finding it funny because of the delivery.
It felt like, it was just, this is a bit stupid, this is dumb.
Yeah.
But, they're trying to do something a bit, silly with it to draw out the suspense and the understanding of the concept. Oh, but no, she's actually kind of handicapped.
Well, she's actually, I'm assuming, all their class or...
Whatever they are, yeah.
Cats, because he calls himself?
A hound.
Oh, 'cause someone says, "What kind of man are you?" I'm a man. Hound.
So I'm assuming from their world they've got humans that are the protectors, the hunters, the guards.
Caste? I don't know.
And they're the bad guys, and she's she's escaped with the blow dart gun thing and the arm thing. We don't really know why she's escaped or how she escaped. We don't really get any of that, but she's on the run from these tracker types, and their Dark Lord, who literally is called a Dark Lord, the bad guys in this, who are like running the show on their world or whatever. We did get a little hint though, didn't we, that Thane isn't necessarily cool with this, because he starts sort of talking about how, oh, there are worlds without masters and there are worlds without, control, and where people can be. And he doesn't really unnecessarily.
The woman shoots him down. So
I mean, he doesn't unnecessarily. We get later on as well that he doesn't unnecessarily kill people. He doesn't kill innocents. He only kills in self-defense for the most part. He has a code of some kind of honor,
like a warrior's code.
Not a good hunt, almost like some kind of alien with claws that hunts people. I don't know where that come from.
He did get some pretty funky Wolverine claws at one point, didn't he?
That was kind of cool.
Better than Wolverine, but they were a little bit shorter.
They were a little bit shorter, but I'm assuming he knows how to use them, so don't worry about that.
So when they're at this weird FBI base, she finds out the light on the bracelet had gone yellow. They decide to escape. They hijack and hitchhike all the way down to either Mexico or
border,
or something like that.
Yeah, with some hilariously really iffy kind of like implied sexual.
Show a bit of leg.
And then she just points the gun at the car and is like, "Didn't need to show my leg," basically.
Yeah, well done.
Because he's, for an educated doctor who's seemingly living with a lawyer,
Educated.
He is a real bit of a shit. This character, he's not the best bloke.
They make their way down to what looks like a rundown gas station.
Yeah.
That's where the door is located, because with a part of the bracelet, she can pull up this global map to find out where the next doorway is going to be. So find out it's over there.
Cutting edge special effects.
Cutting edge. It's not that bad. It was bad, but it wasn't that bad.
I thought it was pretty bad.
90s.
I thought it was pretty bad.
Yeah?
Yeah, it looked really bad. So how's that even going to work as a map?
Maybe
The scale is just all... It's not going to
just
tell
like
you anything.
a JPEG overlay. It looks
That's
bad.
fair. Well, I mean, the quality wasn't that great anyway.
I don't think even if it was HD, it would look great, mate.
So the FBI arrive, and they're like, right,
they're not FBI, they're special agents or something like that.
But they were like, we were tracking you anyway, we just wanted to see where she was going to go, this was a waste of time. Then we cut to all the Thane stuff, he arrives, starts kicking some ass, Wolverine claws.
Crushes a guy's head.
In his
hand.
Kills
Trigger.
Kills Trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they go through the doorway.
It's kind of cool. And then they jump through the doorway, and Thane kind of gets taken out because they shoot the car, and he falls over, and he gets that weird electric. You're not sure if it's the suit.
I think it's his armor.
Yeah,
I think it's his armor is what we're getting from that.
Looks a little ropey for armor, but
yeah. So does everything.
Well, it stops bullets. We've seen them.
Yeah.
Takes a few rounds, doesn't he? A couple of
and then they fall through into a lake river. There's a river
thing. Yeah. River. We'll go with the river.
Thomas hits his head, gets pulled out by Cat, and so
we've now gone through a doorway to our first alternative world, and it's it's the first thing we see is like a trailer being pulled.
Oh, there's a sign to Denver I see on the road.
Yeah. Modern day.
Oh yeah, woo,
yeah. Specifically, a modern day sign to Denver.
It's a little bit grubby.
So he's like, we're just near Denver. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we see this trailer come.
We're on the same Earth.
They get shot by Sissy's sewing machine, as they call it.
Yeah, being put in the trailer. Yeah, is that what that meant?
That's what he referred to as a sewing machine. That's minigun.
I thought she just meant she was good at sewing, but anyway. And it's being pulled by 6 really large dogs, or so Cat thinks, which are actually horses. Which for some reason she knows dogs. She doesn't know horses. Because again, connected to the world
Weird
she's
animal.
come from and the strange animal kind of subservience society that she seems to be living in.
I think now we get one of those. It's one of the best moments of it, and there's not many in this pilot. But to see this weird trailer being pulled by 6 horses and then a minigun on top of it fire at them was outrageous.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it at all.
No.
So that was kind of cool. They're then getting dragged along, and we get 2 references to there's no petroleum, there's no oil, there's no fuel.
Yeah.
Thomas just doesn't pick up on
Oh,
it.
so we ran out of gas.
Yeah,
Like,
ran out of
about
gas.
12 years back.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Nothing.
They keep going until they get to Denver.
No.
No, they don't get to Denver.
Truck stop.
Truck stop.
That was it. They
Yeah.
get to a truck stop.
Which we meet Trigger Mark II, who
Mark
is
II.
we think, a barman.
And at
But
this
he's
po-
not.
At this point, they've seen a lot of people on horses. This kind of weird Western modern truck stop, and Thomas is still like, "Trigger, I know you. I saw you die. This is crazy." It's just not clocked on.
Yeah, he really hasn't clocked on at this point.
So he takes Kat to the bathroom.
This man practices medicine.
Yeah, he takes Kat to the bathroom, and this is brilliant because she, using her limited use of language, now explains to him it's an alternative world. But to be honest, she doesn't really give any more away than she has to
She
this
just-
point
she just
anyway.
points to the mirror
So she
a
goes,
lot.
mirror, mirror, like
Other.
other,
Earth,
here,
Earth,
other,
mirror.
here, other,
And he does this,
and
just touches
Oh
the
my
mirror and is
God.
like,
it's a parallel Earth.
"Really?
Yeah.
Really?"
So then he goes back out and meets the 2 characters. Was it Sissy and her grandpa or whatever?
Yeah, played by
from the trailer.
a recognisable actor, but I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you his name. Yeah.
They sit down and then he goes, "Oh, imagine if I've been stuck in a cave for 12 years.
Tell me what's
tell me what's
happened,
happened."
basically, yeah.
Where we get the twist.
Which is pretty cool. So there was a oil spill that happened somewhere
Australia?
in Australia, and there was some kind of, I'm guessing, man-made superbug was released to eat up the oil, but it only just got hungry at that point and ate up everything plastic
Oil,
derivative
plastic, resin.
in the resin. Which is is that the same?
Yes.
Yeah,
Plastic and resin is all the same, I suppose. Yeah. Anything plastic related got eaten by the bug. So no petroleum, petrols, anything like that man-made, all gone.
Gone.
All gone.
All gone. So they're
Pretty
trying
quick
to,
as well, I get the impression.
pretty quick. So they're trying to do this vibe of kind of like a Western kind of feel, aren't they?
Yeah, but like
Post-apocalyptic Western.
back to basics kind
Yeah.
of world. Yeah.
Getting on to the best part.
Oh, right, yeah. So they leave. They leave, don't they?
Well, no,
finally,
because they
and
get
they're travelling.
arrested by Trigger.
Trigger, who's actually an undercover cop.
Because they're trying to steal
as a barman.
horse. And then
I think that's when I
I
went
don't
to
know
the bathroom.
the granddad's name or whatever. His other couple was like, "Oh, we need to get somewhere safe." And he's like, "Oh, sort of caravan up with us. We'll get you there."
He's too trusting, this man.
And what is it he says? He's never wrong about a person,
Yeah, yeah. Except all of them.
except. I just can't
No, right. So they
go for it, Kurt.
so the trailer, the grandpa, Sissy, and these 2 others.
This is the greatest moment of
It's
the pilot.
It's the greatest moment. They're going along the road and they start hearing this noise.
like a whirring.
It's like a whirring,
clackering.
meant to be the sound of an engine, and they're like, "Oh no, here come the bikers," which gives you that instant thought of bikers, really like motorcycle. Oh, they're going to be people that still somehow got gas.
No.
No.
It's so much better.
No.
It's so much better.
With some amazing camera work showing some wheels and some pedaling, we get a biker gang on push bikes.
There's a tandem as well.
There's a tandem.
One of them sit down like
Sit down, recline
bikes.
bikes. And they've got cards in between the spokes.
The clickety-clackers.
and the clickety-clackers on their wheels. So it's making the sound of an engine in a way. for the
Genuinely
biker.
killed me. This was the funniest thing.
And they get
funniest thing.
attacked by a biker gang.
The two kind of extras in there, they turn out to be part of the gang.
Well, not just part of the gang. The woman is in charge of the gang.
She whips out a pistol at...
So this is where things take a turn. I would say. So Trigger is now escorting Thomas and Kat to Denver to stand trial or whatever for their crimes and trying to steal horses, which they were trying to do, but really is not irrelevant. But so at the biker intervention where they've gone and attacked our friendly, generous grandpa and his granddaughter Sissy, they have now been shanghaied by these bikers, and they're being pulled out. And
Their peanut oil is
Their
being
peanut oil.
stolen.
The guy tips it over his head, and I'm like,
cannot be
that's
good."
gross, man.
I think she mentions like he's
She
not
is
at a
like,
bar.
she actually says to him like, "You're worth less than this peanut oil. Don't waste it as well." But like, so they pull the girl out, and it's starting to get kind of aggressive. And then the guys are like, "Oh, we're gonna have our fun with her first." And the granddad's like, "No, you won't." So the woman just shoots him in the stomach, and then they attempt to rape the granddaughter.
Well, there's a bit of clothes ripping.
Yeah, clothes get ripped properly, and it's like, "Oh yeah, this is the man that wrote Game of Thrones." Yeah, okay.
And then you get a really awkward chase through the forest.
And it's not just a chase. Like this is, it's like they are making like grunty, "I'm going to sexually assault you" noises, and it's really gross. And one guy accidentally falls down in the river at one point while chasing him. I'm pretty certain that wasn't intentional, but they kept the shot in.
Very painful fall.
Yeah,
I don't think that was
he
not
went down
practiced.
hard.
I actually really started to feel a bit uneasy at that moment. That was a bit
Yeah,
too
you
dark.
genuinely you think you certainly wouldn't get this in an episode of Sliders. Put it that way.
Because it all happened really quickly as well. It wasn't slow or drawn out. It was literally like shot. Right, let's just cut to this rape chase scene thing. Like,
Yeah.
Bang bang.
Yeah.
Go.
So she falls down.
Well, Kat and Thomas have escaped because she threw a rock at him.
He's not a very good policeman in any world.
So
Trigger is not good at his job anywhere.
So there's two women there, and then I don't know what we call them.
The biker bad boys.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, it looks like we're gonna have to take turns."
Oh yeah.
Horrible line. Horrible line.
Yeah. Kat was able to arrive to Sissy's aid. And then
It's a good bit. This is a
it's
fun
so
moment.
good.
So Kat stood there pointing the I don't know, not quite
the phallic gun
at them, and the biker kind of mocks her by putting his fingers together in a gun gesture, going bang bang, and she goes no, bang. Like that, and then it cuts to a massive explosion where she's killed them all. It's just like, that's pretty good.
I don't know if we mentioned this gun shoots out little pellets, and the pellets produce an explosion.
144 darts in each magazine.
Yeah,
she's only fired about 4 so far. At this point. She's got plenty of ammo.
About the size of an olive.
The explosion's like the size of a house.
It's
quite a hefty
big.
weapon. It's a powerful
You
weapon.
see the explosion, the rest of the gang just drop their peanut
Well,
oil.
and they leave the woman in charge, who then grabs one of their machine guns, it would seem, and starts firing at them, and then at everything, and then now policeman shows up.
Thomas, was it Thomas
with the shotgun?
Yeah, Thomas and Trigger, and she dies.
So it's all a bit like what the fuck. So yeah, we've I think maybe a little bit earlier. We've missed out something quite important, I guess.
We did, yeah.
Which is the bit with Thane and the Dark Lord that's also come through with them. We get to see the arm and hand of the Dark Lord, which explains why the weird bang gun is not, how should we say, designed for humans. Because it's got like gross sort of skeletal, snotty hand.
Halloween skeleton hand.
It probably
dipped in gunk.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Just resting on his shoulder.
The quality of the hand is very reminiscent of like 70s Doctor Who. That kind of level to give people at home who are listening.
I think, let's be honest, there are better special effects.
60s Doctor Who.
There are better special effects in student films than there are in this.
Okay, yeah.
At times, like honestly, and yeah. So we now have an idea of that this evil thing is really evil. But now we're back at the trailer. Trigger's there, everybody's there. We're going to save Grandpa. We've got to get him to Denver. And we're going to do that
Get him to the hospital. But we can go get the flight in. Oh,
what's that going to be?
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool looking hot air balloon.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was going to be like a Wright Brothers plane, but no.
It's a hot air balloon, and it's the mail balloon. And the Royal Mail, the American Postal Service guy is pissed that the mail's going to be delayed because they've got to put a dude who's been shot in it. But Triggs being pretty.
He promises I'll deliver it to Denver myself.
Yeah. And
I think they actually do.
I think they do. Yeah, they take it, don't they, themselves? Yeah. And then they get the guy there, and Kat goes with them, and Sissy goes with them, and he goes to hospital, and he's gonna be all right.
So the Dark Lord had said, "You failed me once or twice, Thane. You and the other 2 extras get on these hover bikes that you see for like a split second."
We don't really even see them, do you?
See the top bit.
He sort of
see
sits on a thing that moves towards the camera to imply hovering.
And you get the noise.
And there's a bit of noise, but you don't get any special effect for intense purposes.
To go to the town and go and find them.
Yeah.
So they then pretty much, I think they show up, and
I think at this point Thomas kind of is explaining to Trigger all about, it's all other worlds, as if he's somehow knowledgeable on this.
I think
didn't realise 2 hours earlier.
He's kind of convinced Trigger of the reality of it.
Well, Trigger is very accepting of it.
Yeah, I think it's more of a case of not giving a shit as well. It's just like... You can say what you like,
It just
buddy.
makes Thomas's character even dumber.
Yeah. Doesn't he? It's the weird thing he starts explaining. Then look at that tree. It's like the branches, and it's like,
and that has branches.
and that has branches, and there's branches from every decision we make. It's like, dude, you barely had a grasp on what this was 10 minutes ago. You have no fucking idea what you're going on about.
But to be fair to Trigger's, on Trigger's side of things, he does go, okay, bud, yeah, sure. If I buy it, tell me a bit more. Then
He does buy it. We'll say a bit at the end.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely at the end, yeah. So they get to Denver and they meet up. The grandpa's gonna be fine. The Cat and Sissy have had a bit of an emotional connection, sort of. Not much. And then it turns out Thane's in Denver as well. And then they go into the new doorway to get out, and that's when we have the final epic, climactic confrontation of the episode.
Don't use those words. Don't use those words for
Thane
this fight.
chases what he thinks is Cat, and it's Sissy in.
And that's when we discover that Thane's
you're not
cool.
worthy prey or something. He just punches the pipe
Wall.
next to her head because he's not. I know he is actually an evil person.
He is
What
quite
does with
evil.
Cat,
I don't
he
think
is.
he's necessarily evil. I think what they're trying to establish is that they come from a very different society.
Doesn't make it right.
This strange sci-fi world of smart
taking the
animal
weird
people
cat people,
and-
mates. It's just not. No. It's
So
weird. I can't be dealing with it.
It is
so
weird.
they go and find the location for the next doorway.
Which is in like a
Underground.
underground area.
Yeah. Trigger's with them at this point, and he sees Thane and goes, okay, that guy does look a bit weird. I think I might start believing his story. They go down. Thane and his two other cronies find him. They go down, and then this climactic and epic fight, as Ben mentioned, happens where...
It's at this point I think I should point out that due to the darkness of the scene and the poor quality, I couldn't really tell what was happening.
Not a lot, to be honest.
You see, there's a bit of gunfire and
Yeah.
a thing.
So yeah, basically the three of them arrive. They think they see the doorway,
The Dark
and
Lord's
then
there.
the Dark Lord, who was kind of waiting at the previous location, has then just plot deviced moved
Well, the Dark
over.
Lord wants, for some reason,
Wants Cat.
personally. The Cat
Yeah.
has done something to piss off the Dark
Maybe
Lord.
she took her arm clam, as I'm calling it.
Arm clam.
'Cause it kind of
I
like-
like that. It's a bit like an arm clam.
Clamps round like a clamshell.
And then, actually, that's not a bad special effects when the Dark Lord shoots a laser, and that doesn't look too bad either.
Yeah. Sure, if you say so, boss.
I'll let you have that one, alright?
Okay,
It's not too bad.
it doesn't look too bad, and that kills like one of the other cronies in.
At one point she attacks, because there's a female crony that's going after Cat, and she's like, no, I said she was mine! And she actually lasers her own crony. Because the Dark Lord don't suffer no fools.
Yep. And then the other one gets taken out by a shotgun. Trigger takes one of them out by a shotgun.
I'm not going to be killed twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going full Rambo with infinite ammo shotgun here.
He
God
shoots-
mode on.
Yeah,
It's called Trigger for a
he
reason.
shoots a weird box. I don't know what the box was about, but he shoots a box and the whole thing exploded, and then the whole underground explodes,
I'm
and
trying to
they
work out what would be in it,
they
'cause it can't be
fell
oil.
through, and then after that, Thomas and
Dynamite.
Peanut
Thomas
oil.
and Cat fell through the portal,
And
the doorway.
And they ended up on what looked a bit like a desolate, almost moon-esque scape.
But in fact, pan out,
What was it?
Mount Rushmore.
It was Mount
But
Rushmore.
with Davy Crockett and a Native American.
That's right, yeah.
And two other faces.
I'd actually already forgotten that as like the reveal at the end of the episode. I actually forgotten.
And then the credits.
And we were thankful. And we thank the gods. Now look, this is an interesting thing because we watched this because to find out that George R.R. Martin had tried to create a show in some ways very, very similar to Sliders, just prior to Sliders, we were like, we're going to watch this. It was Kurt's idea, so we blame him. And
You're
I
welcome.
recommend, if you've never checked it out, it is on YouTube. You just look up Doorways, and it's like one of the first things that'll come up. And it's a full rip of. It's not great quality, but I think there's some.
It's all we have.
Yeah.
There's some interesting differences here to what we have so far seen in Sliders. We've got this kind of idea that there are these extra-dimensional hunters. We've got this kind of whole different societal, cultural makeup from them. We've got this kind of all-powerful enemy faction. The sliding is, for all intents and purposes, very similar, Though it's not timer based, it's more like location based. But there is a time, like they do have to get there.
They do have
in a certain amount of time, don't
and
they?
a MacGuffin.
Yeah,
as well.
the MacGuffin. Well, it was never that clear. But are the doorways only visible to her because she's got the clam thing?
Maybe.
Or are they just there? I couldn't quite work that out. I think the biggest problem is that like character wise.
What characters?
Like then you had a sense, didn't you, of Quinn, of Arturo, of Wade, of Rembrandt, very quickly in that first episode of Sliders. Where in this, who are these boring motherfucking people? One that can barely speak. So yeah, understandably, she struggles with characterization because you can't really grasp anything about her. And the other guy is just like, I'm a doctor that does magic, and I'm also really slow on the uptake. It's just like, mate, you're worse. He's worse than Remy. He's worse than Remy for being oblivious to the reality of the worlds they go to.
But Rembrandt is the comedic foil. It seems like Thomas is supposed to be the male lead, and yet there's nothing.
Well, weird for me as well is I thought there was a couple of times where I thought we maybe got Sissy or Trigger join the team, and that they were going to end up going with them. And I thought, that would have balanced out the dynamic a little bit. But it was curious to me that they ended up just the two of them going through again at the end of the episode.
It's very clear if that story is true that one of the lead writers from Sliders had, tried to get on that team, that writing team, clearly got the idea, and heard of the idea, and probably had seen the pilot and everything and taken down some notes, then had gone back home and gone, right, look
I'm
at this
going to do
idea.
that better.
Yeah, let's flesh this out.
Let's do this properly. Because this is... I mean, what were your thoughts about it? I mean, how did you feel about the aspects that were different?
It just wasn't good.
No?
I mean, it was what, an hour and 12 minutes, 24 seconds?
And you felt every second of it?
It felt longer than Return of the King Extended Edition.
I remember when we hit halfway and I was like, it's halfway, guys, and you were like, what?
Well,
it was ending.
A plot does happen, but yet it feels like nothing's happened.
That was that was so weird. When you said halfway, it felt like the story had kind of ended, like naturally had come to an end, and I was like, oh, that was an okay pilot for a quick thing. But then when you said halfway through, oh, what? No, it's not. It does not hold up well as a pilot goes.
I can definitely see why it wasn't taken on. I mean, clearly.
And it's interesting that, George R. R. Martin had done that, and actually written that. I wonder how he feels about it these days.
I'm glad that has been forgotten.
Is that the first screenplay he's written?
94? I don't know, but I don't think people realise how long he's been writing and putting out
screenplays
stuff
as opposed
before.
to just...
Game of Thrones was a recent success for him.
Yeah, but I mean,
he had a lot of other stuff.
I don't know. Screenplays, or was it more books? Because if that's...
Quite possibly. I really don't know. I mean, I know he had moderate success with like the Wild Cards universe, which would have been going from the 90s. I think that's been around for a really long time. Yeah. Wild Cards. I'm trying to remember the Night Flyers was a way back as well. That's just been adapted. Which I watched some of the first episode of that on Netflix. It was terrible.
What are these?
These are other things George R. R. Martin did.
Oh gosh, are they as bad?
As Thrones? Do you not like Thrones?
No, and as bad as this.
Oh, I mean, Night Flyers is not great. I didn't like it, but it's very derivative.
It's mixed bag.
So I'll be honest, it does feel very poorly written at times, especially just
even by the 90s standards. Sometimes we're pretty hard on Sliders, but like that was consistently genius compared to this. I mean,
dialogue is uninspired. There's no.
I think it doesn't help that they didn't. The only two named actors that I was able to work out was Kurtwood Smith and Carrie-Anne Moss. And Carrie-Anne Moss, she was fine. Carrie-Anne Moss was fine. She was good.
She had the most normal thing to do, which was just be a worried girlfriend.
Yeah. But she brought it across quite well. I thought for this small amount of time she had.
She was the one they had in the least amount of clothes as well.
Oh,
in one scene for the whole thing.
And then Kurtwood Smith, who's been in a few other bits over the years. Yeah, he was pretty good as Trigger.
He was, and I kind of felt like maybe every episode might get him.
Version of, kind of an unofficial lead, because it's a different version.
Yeah,
of him,
and I think the intention, if you're going to have Carrie-Anne Moss again, I think she would have come in Another World as well.
Do you think it maybe cut back to
what was she doing?
Our Earth?
No, I don't think there's enough plot there.
I don't know.
I don't think there's enough plot there.
I'm trying to give it something, Ben. I'm trying to give it a world because it's got nothing.
I mean, as a curious oddity of 90s TV that didn't quite make it, I think, clearly a pilot was commissioned. That meant the execs saw something in the idea.
Because they spent some money on it.
Oh, it's inconsistent. It's so inconsistent. Sometimes you look at it and go, oh, yeah, not bad. And then other times you go, oh my god, was that 20p?
Well, I think they spent all the money on the pilot at the start and then just ran out.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of cars involved in that scene. And then it's like, well, that was clearly a shot scene. That wasn't just in a random location.
The worst part is, even the alternate world has a lot of potential. And even then it doesn't feel...
Fleshed out.
I mean, if you compare the two pilots, you get Soviet world,
which feels very like, okay, I can imagine the whole of the US, maybe even the whole planet
you're
like
thrown
this.
into it. It's still not the best fleshed out world there, but you feel more part of it.
Yeah,
I guess.
Absolutely.
Even the other world they go to in the Sliders.
It feels very small, doesn't it? Very, very small. It doesn't feel global. It feels like in tiny, not even like city. It feels just like one stretch of road for the most part. It's such a small location.
But I think the Sliders just did it all a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what were we saying? Check it out if you've got a spare hour and 12 just to see.
Oh yeah. Hardcore Slider fans should watch it and be like, wow, this could have been.
Be thankful
and I mean,
it wasn't this.
Let me just say, there are elements in this that are maybe not immediately apparent in the early seasons of Sliders, but might become more important as we go along. So
yeah.
Oh, Thomas isn't in it, is he?
Yeah, Thomas crosses over. He comes through his doorway and they're like, "Hey, no, we slide on this show, mate."
Cat. I can't. No, it's not.
It's just the worst, isn't it?
It really is.
It's the worst. It's the laziest way of conveying that kind of character element, and it's just so badly done.
She clearly has, a lot of comprehension for things, and then they'll just revert back to cat, door, other Earth.
It's very, George R. R. Martin in some areas of that. She's just kind of a strong character in some elements, but then in others
she is she's an independent woman, but
then there's some bad stuff that's happened to her, and it doesn't.
He likes to do that
gel.
with strong women. He likes to put stuff in their character that makes them broken or flawed or damaged, as if that's the only way to characterise a woman.
I don't,
and it's kind of gross at times.
I don't think I'm ever going to criticise Wade again.
Yeah.
Although she's a little bit lusting after Quinn, she's, I guess, just a bit more real. Well, obviously,
a lot more real than Cat.
A cat person, but...
Yeah, absolutely. It does make Sliders, even the ropier bits, be like, oh man, that's so much better. It certainly helps with that. So does that bring us to the end of this little special episode where we went off on a random tangent to George R. R. Martin Sliders?
I believe so.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to... We'll be back next time with episode 1 of season 2, and I can't wait to get into it with you guys and see if any of those plot point and cliffhangery bits from the end of season 1 are continued.
I find out what happens to Cubal.
Yeah.
I wonder if or how long any of our additional Sliders stick in the team. Is going to be one of the interesting things as well, isn't it?
They better not kill off that dog, Ben. Come on, don't do it. Don't.
John Wick the dog.
Slide dog.
John Wick the dog. Slide dog.
Hey, if Keanu Reeves is in Sliders,
there we go.
all over it.
Slide dog. Slide dog is dead dog.
Slide doggy dog. Anyway, we'll be back with that very soon. So thank you, Nathan, for joining us on this. I'm sorry to put you through that, man.
I think we're all sorry.
And thank you, Kurt, even though it was your fault that we put ourselves through that.
I'm sorry.
And next time, maybe someone will listen to me, Ben, when I suggest Space Above and Beyond instead of Doorways.
I'm saying Dark Angel. We've got to watch Dark Angel.
You're saying Dark Angel. I'm saying not C Lab.
Sequest.
Sequest. Yeah, I want Sequest. DSV.
Maybe. 3 good options there. 3 good options, I have to say. All worth watching. We'll be back, like I said, very soon. Please follow us on our Twitters, which is @ExperienceKills. You can find, obviously, us on YouTube. Like and subscribe there. That really helps with visibility. You can, of course, watch this episode there, or listen on one of our various feeds, be it iTunes, Spotify, or the Raw RSS feed. And we'll be back very soon with more sliders. Doorways.
Oh, so bad. It was so bad. Cat. Oh, don't. Why?
What if you could travel to parallel worlds? The same year, the same Earth, only different dimensions. A world where the Russians rule America. Or where your dreams of being superstar came true. Or where San Francisco was a maximum security prison. My friends and I found the gateway. Now the problem is finding a way back home.